Well, hello. I was born into a family of 7, and there was my mother she was left on her own with 4 children still at school. So things were very hard. We lived down this very, very lonely track, miles away from anywhere. For much of my young childhood. Then later on we moved up into the village, and I was about 13, and walking down the village road one day I suddenly found myself in a dream, and I was dreaming about I was going to be married to an artist, and it was going to be really hard, life was going to be really hard, and but there would be good times and there would be lovely things happen, and it just seemed to go on for ages and ages, this dream. And then suddenly I thought, oh no, I don't want to know anymore, I really don't want to know anymore, and I came out of it. And from then on I went to work for my family's friends restaurant in Felixstowe. One day I was working in the restaurant. This man walks in, and he walked straight up to me and he said, hello, I've been looking for you. I said, oh. He said, yes, I've been looking for you for a long time. I said, oh, really? So he said, yes, and I'm not going to go away now, I found you. But he was very unusual. His face, he was very smooth-skinned and tanned. He had a very silvery white suit on, very lightweight, and a white shirt, and his hair was sort of blonded. When do you finish work? So I said, well, I'm working late this evening, and I only just lived 2 or 3 doors up the road. Of course I was intrigued, and of course he was so unusual. I'd never seen anybody like him before. And so we walked along the beach to walk me home, and he sang a song to me. And he sang, always stay as sweet as you are. Don't let a thing ever change you. And he had this beautiful voice. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's beautiful. And the strange thing was, I had a man that came into the restaurant, and this day I happened to have to help this person with this table. And he said to me, my dear, he said, always stay as sweet as you are. Don't let a thing ever change you, all right? So I thought, well, I sort of smiled at him and said, okay. And the strange thing was, the song that this man sang me was the same thing. He said, can we go and see your mother and your family? And I said, well, yes. So the next day I took him along to see my mother, and we got there and she had tea all laid for us and everything. Then he said to my mother, I want to marry your daughter. 3 weeks later, we were married in the church by special license, and we had a wedding. And then I went off to London with him, and he turned out to be a jazz singer, and he was singing in nightclubs in London. I find myself in London with this man, him singing beautiful jazz, beautiful singing, everything, and things were hard. It was hard. I had to get a job in London, which was very hard for me, because living in a village and having the life that I'd led, hardly being in civilization really, only when I went to Felixstowe. And he then had to get a job because jazz singing didn't pay, show business is not very good, and he got a job, and he got a job in a heating, ventilating sort of company. And this company said to him, I wonder whether you'd go to Scotland for us and open a branch there and do, you know. So we packed up and went off to Edinburgh, and we got up there, and within a month or so the company went broke. He said, we'll start our own company. I know about design, you know, ventilation, heating, all sorts. I've been selling it now, I can do it. So we opened a company, he designed booklets, and we designed it all. We got officers, and we decorated them ourselves. And when I was 21, at 9:30 at night, I was decorating the offices with him, and I said to him, my goodness, I'm 21 today. And he said, never. I said, I am. It was the 11th of August, I was 21. One weekend, he said, look, he said, some strange things have been happening to me. I keep walking past the shops and things, and I see a reflection in the window, and it looks like there's a spaceman there with a round helmet on. He said, I have a feeling that I've got to shave my hair off. I think it's me without any hair. I said, oh, okay. Are you sure about this? So he said, yes. I said, okay, all right. So got the scissors, started cutting it off. He said, no, shorter. So cut it off, short, right short. Right, he said, now we'll see if this razor works. So he started, it took a long time, and he managed to get it off, and there he sat, no hair. It did cause quite a stir, and people were shocked where we went. And he just in the end became the man with the shaven head, and everybody just took it that he was that man, and it did suit him actually, it really did suit him. The only problem was he wanted me to shave all mine off, and my mother said, well look, come on, you know, I think that would be going a bit too far. And so I didn't. We moved from Glasgow and Edinburgh. We still kept the office, we still kept the business, and we opened a showroom in Sheffield, and we did the business there. In the meantime, we kept making jazz records for him because he still wanted to sing, and we started getting children's songs really. When we were in Scotland, we started getting like songs like We Are the Children, the Innocent Children, We Are the Children, We're Going to Play. And we made these records actually, we sang these songs with a person in Timpan Alley called Larry Page at the time, and he said, well, I like these songs and I think we should record them. So we recorded them, but we couldn't find a name for ourselves. And he said, well, I can't release them, I can't do anything with them. If you don't tell, you can't really go as Dorothy and Barrington Frost. You know, that won't be very good. He said, you've got to have a name. What about Beauty and the Beast? So I think my husband was very keen on Beauty and the Beast. He said it might be right for you. It just got so that we didn't do it, actually, that the recordings were done. I think we even got a children's choir. In fact, I'm sure we did. We got the children's choir and everything. And that didn't come off. And then in Sheffield, we got this house and we were going to do it Roman style. And we went to a bookshop to get things on Hadrian, because Hadrian's Wall is near Sheffield, and we thought, well, Roman, we call the house Hadrian. And we went into the bookshop, and I went browsing along the shelves, and I pulled out this book, and it had this figure on the front, and it was an Egyptian figure, but it was gold, and it was tiny, and it had its hair different to Egyptian, and I had blonde long hair, and I was always tanned, and I thought the features looked like me, and I said, oh, I like this, but he said, oh, you think that looks like you, don't you? And I said, well, you know, I said, well, it is tiny, and it doesn't look, I just think it's nice, isn't it? I'd like to see, you know, read the book. And so he said, well, look, we'll get that book. I like it. I think it is like you, actually, very much. So he said, get the book. And we got it home, and he just was reading through, and then he was reading about Ramases II. And he said Ramases II was the first pharaoh to shave all his hair off. Oh, I said, oh my goodness, you've had your hair shaven off 2 years. So he said, oh, that's it then. He said, I'm Ramases and you're Selket. That's it. 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 I'm Ramases and you're Selket. That's it.